All right, Larry Krueger here from the Pig and a Pickle Krug Show with a little 49er video. Make sure you check out Pig and a Pickle. Emeryville and Corte Madera are their two locations. They're open 7 days a week in Marin from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m., Wednesday through Sunday in Emeryville. Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. All right, let's talk a little bit about maybe the most exciting revelation of the assistant coach interviews that we did earlier this week. Chris Koceric, the defensive line coach for the 49ers, was talking a little bit about Javon Kinlaw. He was asked about Kinlaw, who's definitely noticeably lighter this year. And man, injuries over his 3 NFL seasons have plagued Kinlaw in the worst way. He's appeared in just 10 regular season games since 2021, and he was the 49ers' lowest graded player last season, according to Pro Football Focus. Pro Football Focus gave Kinlaw a 31.9 grade. But when you listen to Chris talk about Javon and the offseason he's had, it's really pretty interesting. In fact, I'll read you the quotes from Chris. He said, "This is the first offseason since we've had Javon that he's been able to start the offseason healthy and actually stack days on top of each other. And we've been going for a while now, and he's been continuously stacking days. If you just go back to his career, his rookie year was the coronavirus year, where I didn't see him until the first day of camp. He shows up and he tries to, as a rookie, come in with really no off season and go through camp. His brain was spinning, and he's out there just trying to line up in the defense and all that stuff. And then he got hurt late in his rookie year and kind of went into the next offseason where he was rehabbing. Then the next year he had the surgery, so he was rehabbing all that last offseason. So this is really the first offseason since we've had him that it's been a great unbelievable start and no setbacks. And he's been doing awesome and able to stack one day on top of the next and really get himself at this point in time in the offseason more so ready to play than at any time in his career since he's been here. So it's all been really positive. So that's the extent of the quotes from Koceric about Kinlaw. But Javon has battled a couple things, and I've talked to him. Great guy. I've talked to him a couple times about it. He knows he's got challenges. He's a big guy. I mean, I would say 6'5", 6'6", 320 pounds. He's had some chronic knee pain going back to his days at South Carolina. He knows he needs to play, with bent knees and play with leverage, play low. It's a leverage game on defense. You can't stand up out of your stance and lose leverage. Otherwise, you lose all your power. And we saw that at the end of the year. The more he's battled knee pain, the less he's playing with bent knees in a real athletic position, the less he's playing with leverage, and the more he gets bounced around inside. Now, can't mark him down too severely for not looking good against Jason Kelce. Jason Kelce is not just a Pro Bowler. He's going to Canton. He's going to be a Hall of Famer. So the fact that the Eagles, center kind of dominated him, I'm not saying it should be expected, but Kelce, Kinlaw's not the only guy that Jason Kelce has dominated in his career. But it was disheartening seeing Kinlaw kicked out of the club, as they say, repeatedly in that NFC Championship game where he just couldn't play with leverage, couldn't anchor against the run, couldn't lock in, doesn't give you a ton as a pass rusher. And so you're looking at him going, what's he getting done out there? If he's not good against the run and can't anchor against the inside run, and he's getting kicked out left and right by, offensive linemen, and he's not really holding up and splitting double teams and holding up at the point of attack, and he's allowing offensive linemen to climb to that second level and pick off Fred Warner and Dre Greenlaw. And on top of that, he doesn't have the big-time quickness that you're looking for to be a pass rusher. You're sitting there and going, well, what does he do? What exactly does he do? If he doesn't rush the passer and he doesn't play the run, what are you doing that's helping your team win? So I really questioned whether they would bring him back. They didn't pick up the 5th-year option. So he's a free agent at the end of the year, no matter how this year goes. But it's great to see him, looking great. And Chris, knows better than anybody of what, he needs to do, what Javon needs to do to become successful. So the fact that he's lighter, if you said to me, Kinlaw's lighter, is that good? Well, it's good for his knee. There's no question. If you're rolling around at 330 and now you're playing at 295, that's 35 fewer pounds that are, working on that knee, so that knee has to support. So any loss of weight is going to be good for him as far as his physical feel, and how well he can play as far as his knee is concerned. That's one. But also, I think there's a chance that Kinlaw looked at, what the Niners did in the offseason, not picking up his 5th-year option and then going and spending a boatload of money on Javon Hargrave. And I'm sure it's easy for him to go, hey, look, this is a passing game now. And look at how much they reward, interior pass rushers. And I want to be an interior pass rusher so I get rewarded. So if it was literally just like, hey, I want to make some money, I'm going to lose some weight, maybe that's a positive. But just to hear Chris, and I didn't realize to the extent that, that Kinlaw was challenged in previous years as far as his offseason work. But, the one thing I can tell you from being in pro football a little bit is that defensive line is all about technique. And, that's why you'll see guys who can rush the passer and they're still doing an incredible job at 35, 36. Think about all those edge rushers the Niners signed in the 80s and 90s. They were all long in the tooth guys. When the Niners signed Richard Dent, he wasn't a kid. Ricky Jackson was older. Tim Harris was older. Chris Dolman was older. Kevin Green was older. Well, why would they keep signing these older pass rushers? And why are there so many good old pass rushers? Jason Pierre-Paul, Melvin Ingram, Justin Houston. Why are there so many of these guys still out there right now? Because when you have technique, it's a technique-rich position. And once you've mastered the technique, you can have sack production. You can play with leverage. You have greater value than you do even when your body is younger and fresher and you're right out of college. And that's why you see pass rushers who are long in the tooth stick around. And they don't just stick around and play in a role, they play a significant role. I mean, you could make an argument that the best football that D Ford ever played was towards the back end of his career. Why? Because the technique he got, his get off is better than ever. His technique is better than ever. His leverage is better than ever. He's playing low. He's coming off the ball, and it's a technique rich position, both at defensive end and defensive tackle. So now you got Javon Kinlaw, and now he's put together an offseason where he's been in the facility and he's working hard and he's leaned out and he's playing and he's impressing Chris. And, Chris is like, I can't wait to see what he looks like this summer. And I'll add myself to that list as well. I can't wait for Javon. Let's face it. If Javon Kinlaw and Drake Jackson, who've been two of the more impressive guys in the offseason program, guys who are stacking days, working hard, showing up at the facility every day. If all that happens on the Niner defensive front is they add Javon Hargrave and then they get Javon Kinlaw and Drake Jackson to play at the level that their talent is at, the 49ers defensive line is going to be worlds better for it. So as far as what was the biggest positive coming out of the last week, it was when Chris Kocurek sat down with the media and basically laid it out there that Javon Kinlaw has never been able to have an off season like the off season he's enjoyed this year. And that bodes well for what we may see from Javon come July and August. All right, hope you enjoyed our 49er video. I can't wait to see Kinlaw this summer. Thanks to Pig and a Pickle for being the title sponsor of the Krug Show. Check them out. They're in Emeryville and Corte Madera. They're open 7 days a week in Marin, Wednesday through Sunday in Emeryville. And thanks to all of you for supporting the Krug Show on YouTube.